There's nothing beyond Christed consciousness. It already enfolds all things, and you are that. There, good. Beloved friends, turn gently then from the roar and din of the world that you believe you have made an error, and know that you have never been capable of error. But you, out of your divine greatness, have chosen to take on the sins of the world. That is, you've chosen to experience what it's like to perceive oneself in separation in order to understand dimensions of illusion, dimension of suffering, to unfold within your being all possibilities. Why? Because your compassion is infinite and unbounded. And you have not suffered because you failed. You've suffered because you've looked upon a teeny little planet floating in a certain dimension, in which separation was being played out, and your compassion brought you here to learn of this world, to master this world, to take it in and know what it's like, so that when you look into the eyes of a brother or sister and say, I love you, they know that you know what you're talking about. No one can fool you, can they? When another says, I'm suffering, you can say, I know, I took it on once myself. I know that dimension, and I am arisen. And because the ascension has been completed in me, the same power is in you. It is only by taking on the sins of the world, perception or separation, that you become the vessel, the vehicle, that is large enough to embrace any suffering that comes along the pike. And at a soul level, when you look into the eyes of another and say, yes, I know that you're suffering, and I love you. I know that Christ lives in you. At the soul level, they know that you're not what you call talking out of your hat. They know that you know because you've been there, and that is why I did what I did. Anybody can hang out in 17 dimensions beyond this planet and talk about love, and those that have fallen into illusion say, well, yes, well, come down here and try it out. I came down here for the same reason you did, out of the infinite compassion of Christ, so that I could embrace all of my brothers and sisters and help them to uplift themselves back to the place from which they have never fallen. You're doing it right now, you, in the very life you're living. You, out of your Christedness, out of your compassion, have opened yourself and called forth all manners of experience so that you could wrap yourself around this dimension and enfold it into your love. That's all you're doing here, so give yourself some credit. Never again entertain the thought that you have failed. You are the one that looked with tears upon this dimension and said, I'll go. I mean, after all, I'm not even willing to do that again. You are. You are that one. You are the embodiment of the Savior. You are the one sent forth from the mind of God. You are the one that has been willing to feel it all, to experience every dimension of suffering just so you could heal it, and thereby demonstrate that the truth is true always and only love is real. So there, now you know what you've been doing. Give yourself some credit. For though through the eyes of the body it looks as though things may be hopeless, rest assured the heat has been turned up by all of you, and there is a point where the water has no longer a choice but to boil and turn to steam. The train is pulling into the station because you have been willing to wrap yourself around this world in your own beingness and heal it with love. You, just as you are, right where you are, everyone in this room is actively fulfilling their function.